Hello and welcome. After all the questions, the innuendo, the chatter going around, EFP is now making a decision about getting our people's class actions moving. We have already started the process. We've got the messages going out in our weekly Monday night meetings, and this is all about telling you how we're going to do this. Right. First question we had, what is it? How does it work? Where are we going? Okay, EFP is going to set up its own people's class actions, which we have begun, and this is to fight about our human rights. Whether you have been unlawfully, unfairly dismissed from your work, whether you have been told that you have to comply with different regulations and policies which are unworkable and they are not helping your business, whether you've been told that in your employer, if you do not take all the mandated directions about taking the vaccination, this is about you knowing about your rights. And we have got the process set up on our website, which I'll explain to you in just a moment, how to put down your name for an expression of interest. Number two, why are we doing this? Okay, very simple. We're all in this together. There's nothing else we can say. You, me, your family, my family, everyone listening to this, everyone, even if you don't fully understand it, everyone is now in this boat about where we're going to is a whole new world. And that's why it's called the New World Order. This is about exposing the corruption which no one can see. This is about the process now. No one in the eastern states of Australia own their properties. This is about people not having the rights to go into a courtroom. This is about the council saying, if you do not pay, we take. This is happening now in 2022. This is not a conspiracy theory, it is fact. This is what's happening. Okay, the next question we have is, what is this all for? We get this question on a regular basis. Every Australian elector and family is now under so much pressure that they've never seen before. Businesses are struggling and closing, and sometimes, in many cases, for good. This is not going to help our country going forward. People are being pushed out of their jobs. People are being told that they have got policies and directives and mandates which are not law. So this is for every Australian voter and every Australian family, what this is about. This applies to the little old lady down the street who probably doesn't even have a clue what's happening because they don't have a computer. It applies to every small business who are not able to understand that when they come together with other small businesses, they have power. It applies to farmers who are not individual and independent and alone. It applies to every farmer. But most importantly, people who have been dismissed unlawfully and unfairly who didn't understand what was going on. The governments of Australia are actually in the process of putting heavy penalties on businesses who do not follow the process. It's coming from above with a financial stick, and that's where it's all coming from. The next question we had is, why should we look at you? Very simple. We're not lawyers. We don't have to worry about complying with the law, and we don't have to make any bones about why we don't do that. We are advocates. We say it clearly up front. We are not legal practitioners, which means they do not stand under the courts. It's very simple. There are no lawyers or judges in this country, period. And we can back that up, and we have. Since the unlawful removal of the Queen in Victoria and in Western Australia in 2004, there are no lawyers in this country. That's why they're called legal practitioners, because they have an ABN. They're no different to any other business person. So this is why we're saying we can go where a lawyer or legal practitioner cannot go, and that's fighting for your human rights. What is this? What is the cost? All we're looking for is people who understand this and have the ability is a fee of $200 to join us to fund and help us to make this a reality. When we can do this, we can do the work. We've got the papers, we've got the process, and we know how to go into court because we are winning in courts right now. As of the day of this recording, we've had people having their cases withdrawn interstate from where we are, and those cases are being taken off the internet. And this is what we need people to understand. Lawyers have charged hundreds of thousands of dollars to industry groups, and they've not won one case. This is the reality. This is where it is. This is to help us to fight, and we're not here to do anything else except to get the results, because if we don't have a result, we're all going down with this ship. This is about jumping on our people's class action And when you do help us, you become a subscriber, and you will also be getting our Basic Facts workshop gratis for free. And that'll teach you why you do not want to be called a person. What is the process about? It's very simple. We've got a process that we're putting together in place, and that's all about saying we've got the documents to write to your state and federal members of parliament. We've got the documents to go to your industry group. We've got the documents for your governments, and there's no such thing as a government, but that's for another day. And it's also about bringing this all together at the end of the day. We will get you an email. So when you join us, we're kicking this off. We have to start this on the 1st of May. This is going to be where you will watch out for our emails about how we're going to bring this together. When you jump on our website and you scroll down the first page, you will come under these tabs and see the People's Class Action. And that's when you just put down your name and you show your expression of interest, whether you're in businesses, large or small, you're in the construction industry, you're in a small business which is in a separate industry grouping and you can't find enough other people. That's where we come and bring people together. Whether you've got fines and you are fighting the legal system, it matters not to us which state you live in. We have class action groups for fines as well, people challenging the illegality of these unlawful fines. We're dealing with the education sector. We have larger and growing groups of people in the education space in every state in Australia now understanding our People's Class Action. And one of the most important groups, because of who they are, is the health and medical professionals coming together, understanding about how people have been deregistered, suspended, terminated because they spoke their mind. These are the industry class action groups that we're calling the People's Class Action. And that's when we're coming to bring this all together. And if you go after that tab and look for the next tab, which is called the Grand Jury section, then put your names down there, and we're bringing people together by postcode. When we can get the 25 to 30 people needed for a group to come together, we will inform you and keep you up to date by email when you join that group. The last thing is the conclusion to all of this. Our goals. What are our goals? This is simple. Reclaiming our country. This is about freeing our country from the New World Order for our children. Because if we don't do it, there's no white knight, there's no cavalry, there's no navy. We're on our own. This is it. Every country in the world is going through their own problems. We have been encouraged, and we have been trying to contact, or we are contacting other groups overseas, but mostly importantly, we're coming in under Professor Rainer Fulmick, who has got a goal of bringing 1 billion people together in every country in the world to forming and participating in his grand jury. This is our ultimate goal. This is not about writing letters and having a protest, which is all very good. But at the end of the day, we need to come together on a community level and exercise our right under grand jury, and we've got the roadmap to do so. So very quickly, what is a class action? We are calling it an EFP, the EFP's People's Class Action, which is a new process which has never been done before, because this is where lawyers cannot go. It takes the process away from going into fighting in the courts, which are corrupted because we don't have courts. They are a courthouse, and they have an ABN, and they pay GST. That's the fact. The second thing we had to discuss was why are we doing this? Very simple, exposing the corruption. If we don't get this conversation going, it won't get done by people marching down the street and protesting with flags and holding up a sign. It's got to go deeper. The next part is what is this all for? This is about reclaiming every Australian elector and family's right to the country we grow up in. It's been taken from us, and this is a turning point now. We have to stand up as we're approaching the winter of 2022. Why us? Very simple. EFP does not advocate that we are saying anything else, that we are advocates. We fight for human rights. We are not lawyers. We don't have to say anything about that because we are not there. That's not our space. We don't have any lawyers in our group. We are people who love this country, and we are advocating that we are saying we want our human rights back. What's the cost? $200 per year. That's all we need to try and fight this whole fraud. we're seeking your help to bring people together and saying we are fighting the good fight in court. And then you'll also become a subscriber to have access to all of our information, recordings, and all the things that we do going forward. And you'll also have access as our gift, our Back to Your Basic Rights workshop, which tells you about what the differences are about being a person or a person who is alive. And there's a big, big difference when you're in a courtroom. At the moment, the fragmentation with different groups and different people and different ideas, it hasn't worked. We are aiming specifically for reclaiming our grand jury rights. And this is what we're doing. Australians for Grand Jury, and our ultimate aim is then when we can say we are organised, we are coming together, we will be joining Professor Rainer Fulmick, who is bringing together a coalition of countries aiming for 1 billion people. Are you going to be part of it? Are you joining us? Now it's the time. Take care until next time. This is the first update. We'll be speaking to you again very soon.